Good evening. Welcome to the January 2nd City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is our invocation and our pledge to the flag, led by our City Attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, as well as the rights and needs of both the individual and our community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Our first item on the agenda then will be our Oldsmar Citizens Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject. Please state your name and address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30 p.m. Is there anybody on this side of the building that would like to come up and speak to the council? All right, let's go to this side of the room. Oh, come on up.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Happy New Year. I'm Mark Hayes. I'm with Stanberry Development and wanted to just address council tonight if I could. I'm here with my partner, John Meyer, and we're here really just to express our continued interest in working with the city of Oldsmar on the town center project across the street. The opportunity to build a town center for Oldsmar remains incredibly interesting to us. And, over the last year and a half, we've attended numerous council meetings. You may recognize us, you may not. We have watched a lot of videos, and we have kind of educated ourselves on what we believe the city wants and think that we would be a fantastic partner as part of that. As for the RFP process, we think that it kind of worked, which I know is a little bit funny, but you guys selected 9 groups to start, narrowed it down to 5. Of the 5, there wasn't a formal RFP offered, but there were 3 parties that did respond and even wanted to, and were willing to be interviewed. And that was the one thing and kind of drew us here to be, to present to you tonight, was that in the meeting a month ago, we felt like we were a little disheartened. In last month's meeting with GAI, the one thing that we thought kind of got lost, and not purposely, but just through context and the process, quite frankly, is in our June letter, we had expressed a sincere interest in continuing to work with you guys on this, despite our inability to respond to that exact RFP. We then went and met with GAI in Orlando in person for like an hour and a half, and we talked about the issues that we had with the RFP, but more importantly, we talked about our interest in being involved in this project that we thought really could be transformative for the community. And the disheartening part was we didn't think that that really got stated a month ago, right? And again, it was, in the context of, well, of the 3 groups, a couple responded this way and one kind of said this, but there wasn't a name to any of it, right? And we had said that we had said to GAI and anybody that would listen is we're happy to put our name to anything, and if you guys choose us, that would be great. If you didn't, you didn't. But we aren't looking, we wanted to be upfront. And I think what you would find with us is that we would be very transparent, right? As part of the RFP, there was a scoring system. It was a little complex and pretty strict. And our promise to the city would be any great project takes a collaboration. And we would love to collaborate with you guys, your citizens and everybody else, to deliver a fantastic project. The scoring system is nice. Hopefully, when you guys look back or looked at our June letter and all of our working materials we sent along with it, you can kind of at least get a sense of our vision for the town center, a public gathering space, a square, mixed-use project, which was clearly desired by the community, and kind of see that we're at least hopefully on the right track, right? There were some issues surrounding the team that we were going to build, and we've been in development for a pretty fair amount of time. We can assure you we will build a great team. At the end of the day, it would be the city partnering with Stanberry, not our hired experts, right? And I can assure you, we don't come in as a fee developer. So as a fee developer, you know, you're not totally aligned with the city and its needs or wishes all the time. You're collecting fees. We'd come in with our own money. We'd invest our own money. We would purchase that property, or however that economic exchange got worked out, but we would be investing our own money. We aren't running around with other people's money or a fund or anything else. It's our personal money. And so you can be rest assured, we are fully aligned on working with the city on this project and making it great. Lastly, I just kind of wanted to close. Oh, the one other thing that's kind of important to mention is on the financial front, we're pretty capable. You know, a year ago actually, or this month, in the throes of the crazy economic, financial, chaos that was going on, we closed the capitalization of a $240 million town center project in New Jersey. We brought on a grade A equity company, and we closed a loan of $150 million with New York Life. So even in the midst of all that chaos that was going on a year ago, we have the capabilities of doing this. At the end of it all, I stand here before you to say, we see your vision, we believe, for the 8.5 acres, whatever it is across the street. I'm here to tell you, we would love to be part of that. We felt compelled to come from Ohio here on January 2nd to stand before you and let you know that in person tonight, and would ask that, perhaps there's 3 parties even interested to continue with that RFP process following those interviews. I can assure you there's at least one. And we would love to engage with the city and work on that project. It would be something we could all be quite proud of. So having said that, thank you very much for your time tonight. We would ask if council would perhaps reconsider your position from a month ago. Let us know. We're available. We'll make ourselves available. If there's anything else we can do, be rest assured we will. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Anybody else on this side? Come on up.
Happy New Year, guys. Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. Just a few things. I currently serve on Leisure Services Board, so we have a Parks and Rec survey out, so please fill that out when you have a chance. You can get more info from our Parks and Rec director. I'm also on the Art Task Force, and we have a survey that just went out too, so be on the lookout for that, and you can ask Ms. Joan Byrne about that. And again, just thank you for your time, and thank you for hearing my concerns the last meeting we had, and I hope you will, in regards to the speed bumps, please look at the next survey that's coming out with the new data, and please make a decision after that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody on this side would like to speak to the council? David?
David Llewellyn, 212 Bengal Circle, Oldsmar. I've already said Happy New Year to you all. This gentleman's presentation this evening caught me off guard. I don't know about you, about a June letter and not being in the bid process. I didn't know that anybody had withdrawn from the bid the way we were talking about the RFP going out, getting the results in June, meeting and interviewing all of the applicants. it was all go, go, go. And now we find out that it wasn't a go at all. And now we find out some reasons why. Personally, I've already said, I think that the party handling the RFP must be the city so that we have control over these questions and the correct responses going out to the bidders. GA may be the conduit for the changes that have to be made and for keeping control of documents that are going out. But this is definitely a job for the city of Oldsmar and not a consultant who doesn't seem to have done too well. And when it comes to the city of Oldsmar handling this task, it would seem to me and some other people I've spoken with that we definitely need a development manager, either an employee or I hate to say another consultant, to watch over and administer these projects, this project and the library project, and keep you all up to date, aware of what's going on in the city and all of the residents up to date. The way that these two projects have been handled is very, very poor in my personal opinion. Thank you.
Come on up.
Hello, Barry Sullivan, 300 State Street East, here in Oldsmar. Just on behalf of the pastors and the church community here, just wanted to take this first meeting of the new year to just reiterate our commitment to pray for each of you. Felicia, that includes you and your staff. Kristen, Tom, you guys are all a part of that, where we pray for you guys, one of you each daily. And that's not just us, but it's the churches of the city, the church of the city. So I know that 2024, locally, nationally, we're going to face a lot. There's probably going to be a lot of division and contention and things. So prayer is an important foundation we can all lean on. So just remember that there are citizens out here that love you guys, that appreciate what you're doing. We know that you love the city, and that's why you're sitting here doing what you're doing, and that we just pray for you. So just want to remind you of that.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Barry.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Come on up, Mayor.
Jerry Beadleman, 512 Pine Avenue South. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jerry.
Hope it's better than last year, which was a good year, I think. And the city is always in control of developments in this city. It's not anybody else that controls it. The city council controls it. The citizens control whatever is built in this city. I can knock that if I want. I have quite often up there. I have a question I want to ask, and I would like to direct it towards the council, but I am really directing it toward Mr. Trask, our incredible city attorney. If a organization, chartered or not chartered, you can answer that one, comes before the city council and asks for a donation to a good cause, we've been doing that for the last 30 years, 35 years. And if the city deems that donation good and proper, and you give that organization a certain amount of money, if that organization doesn't use that money for what they had said they wanted it for, and they put it in their coffers, and whatever they wanted to have done never gets done, does the city have any regrets to get that money back?
You want to answer? Yes, please.
So this year, Mayor, we've had contracts entered into between the 501c3s, so that if they get the money, they had to sign the contract, and so the city does have the right to pursue a default of that agreement if they didn't comply with what they agreed to in the contract. So this is the first year we've done that.
Okay, but you can, you, do
Absolutely.
you ever, good, I appreciate that. Y'all have a great new year, and you'll see me again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm sure we will. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to the council? Okay, with that, I'm going to close the Oldsmar Citizens Open Forum. Our next item on the agenda is our community minute, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
There will be a candidate forum on Tuesday, January 9th at 7 p.m. in council chambers hosted by the League of Women Voters. Participating in the 2024 candidate forum for Oldsmar City Council Seat 1 are Steve Graber and Vince Albanese, and for Seat 3 are Andrew Knapp and Valerie Tartaszewski. The candidate forum will be live streamed on the city's official YouTube channel. Oldsmar is under a Phase 1 water shortage. For those using potable water, it will be limited to once a week. For those using reclaimed water, it's daily after 6 p.m. or before noon. For specific information, please visit the city's website. And there will be holiday closures at all city offices, facilities, and public library on Monday, January 15th, in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Thank you very much. Approval of additional new agenda items, 9 and 11. I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket. This will also be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Item 1, approve minutes of December 19th, 2023 council meeting. Just to note, there were 2 typos corrected in the minutes, and those were Chairman Zaraki was corrected to Mayor Zaraki, and a first reading was corrected to a second reading. Item 2, award the purchase of 2 3-4-ton pickup trucks for the distribution and collection and parks division to Garber Fleet Sales per the pricing terms and conditions of the Florida Sheriff's Association contract, FSA 23 VEL 31 CC 24008. Item 3, approve second renewal term of 2022-009 ITB landscape and median maintenance with Always Green Landscaping, Inc.
Thank you so much. Anybody wish to pull any item from the consent docket?
No, sir.
All right, motion?
So moved.
A second? Motion is second. Any other discussion on these items? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the presentation of the business of the quarter for the third quarter of 2023, and that will be taken care of by our Vice Mayor, Andrew Knapp.
Did you break it? No, good.
I heard the clunk.
I was stuck.
Funny side story, I always keep my cup down there, and sure
Every
enough,
time.
first time down. First meeting of the year. Thank you, Mayor. I'm excited to be able to present the award for the Oldsmar Business of the Quarter for Q3 2023. Tonight's recipient is a family-owned company that has been around almost as long as I've been alive. I guess you could say that stage of life established. Not quite old just yet. The Doble family founded Tampa Bay Brewing Company in 1995 to satisfy Tampa Bay's thirst for craft beer and great food at a reasonable price. It's still a family-run company with David Doble as the leader for all operations. Their original location was a 2-story brick building that used to house horses on 15th Street in historic Ybor City, which opened in February 1997. Needing more space for their ever-growing fan base, they moved to their current Tampa location in the plaza level of Central Ybor in 2006, with both indoor and open-air patio seating. In 2015, an additional location was added with a production brewery and restaurant right across the county line from the Oldsmar Flea Market on Racetrack Road in Monroe's Business Park. Tampa Bay Brewing Company has a line of 3 core beers, 5 seasonal beers, plus many more annually released and specialty released beers. To complement their beer, they also have a unique menu that goes well beyond your typical pub fare. Many menu items are beer infused. They feature and highlight their signature Tampa Bay Brewing Company beers to create award-winning entrees and appetizers. And if you haven't tried the house smoked brisket, I highly recommend you come hungry and order it on your next visit. TBBC's 3-acre facility provides 90 jobs for our local community while attracting outsiders to experience our city. Their annual beer fest attracts breweries from across the country and patrons from across the Southeast. They held their first festival back in 2014 on the vacant land that their production brewery now occupies. Since then, the festival has outgrown the brewery grounds, and for the last 2 years has been held right across the street from us on what is unofficially known as City Hall Park. The success of this festival results in our local restaurants being patronized and hotels booking to capacity. Their latest edition of the festival drew over 1,000 patrons to our downtown. Beyond their economic impact to the area, a portion of the proceeds from the festival are donated to the Holiday Sharing Fund, which gives bicycles to children of families in need. Here tonight to accept the award on behalf of Tampa Bay Brewing Company is owner David Doble. Please join me in thanking him and his organization for the positive impact they make to our community. Come on up here. Would you like to share a few words?
Absolutely. Andrew, thank you. City Council, also thank you. On behalf of my family and the 134 employees at TVBC, we graciously accept this award. I would like to thank everybody for their generous support of TVBC. It's been a really awesome 26-year run. Can't believe it's been that long. But through your direct efforts, our local beer fest has flourished and subsequently brings in 1,500 people from outside to explore and experience what Oldsmar is. In 2023, TVBC produced 500,000 gallons of beer. It's a lot of beer. And that's all right here. That was distributed throughout the state, while Reef Donkey maintains being the #1 Florida independent craft SKU.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
We
That's
strive
cool.
to be a productive and supportive member of this community and look forward to sharing 2024 with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to commend this wonderful city of Oldsmar for the support that they give to the military. We're a military family, and I'm a veteran of 2 wars and 27 years, and I'm just always impressed with all the events they hold. Well, you could see it. You could see it in the flag, the Purple Heart that President Washington started, and it's very impressive, and people notice that about Oldsmar, a very special place. We're honored to be here, and thank you very much for all the support that you provided us.
Get out of there, Dan. You're out.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well-deserved award, and thank you for all that delicious food you have. I love your food. All right, item number 5, appointment of Dave Beinhardt as a regular member of the Leisure Services Advisory Board. Dave, are you here?
He is here.
Come on up, Dave. Well, Dave, what do you think?
I think he has plenty of experiences in Parks and Rec. We need to maybe rename that board from Leisure Services Advisory Board to Parks and Recreation Board. We could think about that, but you've been around long enough, huh, Dave?
I've been around.
Yeah.
Between the Little League and this. I've been around a little while. Happy New Year. Thank
Well,
you for
we
everything you
appreciate
guys
your,
do.
we appreciate your volunteerism and stepping up to the plate and becoming a full member. We really do appreciate it, right, Council?
Ooh, that was a good one, stepping up to
Sure.
the plate.
Get it?
Yeah.
Little League. I saw what you did there.
You were catching
I
up.
saw what you did there.
Yeah, your dedication to all things related to recreation is very evident in what you do for the team.
Thank you.
And your wife.
Could have
And
been a
your
home
kids.
run, right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
maybe even a grand slam.
Okay,
I did knock that out of the park. You're right.
that's enough.
Anything you'd like to share with the council and the city staff while you're here?
No, I mean, it's been great so far. Being an alternate, I've actually got to sit in a couple of the seats a couple times.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to actually be a full-fledged member and look forward to what it brings us next.
Great. All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying, home run.
Home run.
All right, welcome aboard.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dave.
All right, next item is City Attorney Tom Trask. Oh, you got the night off.
Yes.
All right, next is City Manager Felicia Donnelly. You have the floor. You got it, number 6.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for the City of Oldsmar Comprehensive Plan Update, Overview, and Associated Planning Effort Summary by Louis Cerna with Calvin Giordano and Associates. Louis, before you start, come on up to the thing. I have a little background that I'd like to share. So the purpose of the agenda item is to provide a brief summary of the 2023 Comprehensive Plan Update and the associated project effort, the upcoming steps for the transmittal process of the plan. The City of Oldsmar adopted its comprehensive plan in 1990. The most recent evaluation and appraisal report for the comp plan was completed in 2007. In 2014, the city notified the Department of Economic Opportunity, DEO, that no major updates to the plan were needed. Since 2014, there have been periodic amendments, and the main changes included revisions to the transportation, intergovernmental, and capital improvements elements in 2016, the future land use element in 2018, and the adoption of the property rights element. Additionally, in 2022, density and intensity incentives were introduced to promote mixed-use development within the section of the Community Redevelopment District Future Land Use category. In 2022, it's a council priority. The City of Oldsmar notified the DEO about upcoming amendments to the plan and officially initiated the comprehensive plan update. City contracted with Calvin Giordano and Associates for this significant undertaking. The city staff worked closely with CGA over the last year in a collaborative effort to update various sections of the plan. They're all included in this item. Including in the agenda items a draft copy of the highlighting the plan's progress with this very important planning document. Planning effort associated with this update emphasizes the city's commitment to ensure that the City of Oldsmar comp plan remains current, aligned with evolving community needs, while meeting all the regulatory statutory requirements. I'm very excited about the culmination of the efforts of this plan, and I'm excited to hear Mr. Cerna with this presentation. So thank you.
Just turned it off. Good evening, council members. Louis Cerna with Calvin Giordano and Associates. It's good to be back here before you. We were part of the team of consultants who helped update the comprehensive plan, and we are pleased, along with city staff, to bring you this draft update. I'd like to definitely commend the city on its efforts. We had great public engagement. I met with a lot of you individually and got a lot of good input. City staff put in a lot of time in this as well, and we're really pleased with the product. It, like any plan, should represent the desires of the community, and we believe it does. Felicia went over some background of comprehensive planning, the comprehensive plan. I won't go into this in great detail, just to give you just a history of the comp plan in Florida. It began in 1985. It's a state-required process. You're required to have a comprehensive plan. It must be based on data, and it must be consistent with state law. Other than that, the state provides a lot of guidance, but one thing it does not state is that it really has, that the plan needs to be a relevant document, and the plan needs to reflect the vision of or the desires of the community. And I think that's where Oldsmar went above and beyond minimum state requirements, because they expressed the desires throughout this process for the plan to be a relevant document and for it to reflect the city's vision for the future. In fact, beginning this process, they entitled this as a vision for Oldsmar. And Felicia went over the background. Oldsmar's comprehensive plan adopted in 1990, comprehensive update completed in 2007. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of changes that have occurred since 2007. And while there have been updates, there's not been a comprehensive review of the document, and that's what was done through this process. So backing up a little bit, what is a comprehensive plan and why is it important? First of all, it's a document designed to guide the future actions of a community. It explains the future vision with long-term goals and objectives for elements of local government. Why is it important? It shows who we are as a community and what the community plans to be in the future. You can see on that slide there's a word cloud that describe Oldsmar in one or two words. That was one of the exercises that came out of the public engagement process. So we used a lot of that information for, it is reflected in your comprehensive plan update. This is just a little bit of a description of the process. We started, as Felicia indicated, with the project kicked off in the middle of July 2022. We had a lot of public engagement, another word cloud, what are the dreams for your community. We even included a teen survey and focus group, which is a little bit unique. I haven't seen any other communities do that, but logically it makes sense because that age group is going to be around when the comprehensive plan is targeting. You know, they're going to be around in the future, and so that was a fun exercise, getting a group of younger people together, letting them think about their future, letting them think about what the future of the city. And the process was very interactive. We did include surveys. We did have a lot of activities at the workshops. There's a little sticky note there from the teen workshop that I like to read. It says, cute places to take pictures and hang out with friends, with family and friends, places to shop, and have Starbucks and a gym to work out. So just their thoughts on what the future of Oldsmar should be. But these were not just fun exercises, not just thought processes. What resulted is that, and you'll see in the document that a lot of what was discussed, a lot of the themes are reflected in the document. More of the public engagement. This is from the community survey. You probably can't read it that well, but it says rank the following topics, 10 being the most important, 1 being the least important. And these are the percent of respondents who gave the topic a score of 6 or higher. Parks, rec, and cultural activities was at the top. Infrastructure improvement was next. Environmental sustainability, resilience, sidewalks, youth and teen activities, historic preservation, multimodal transportation options, commercial retail development, and housing affordability. Again, these will all be reflected in your plan. Another question, in addition to the required elements of the comprehensive plan, what other topics should be addressed when planning for the next 20 years? Resiliency, sustainability, and environment came out as the top #1 topic that the comprehensive plan should address, and we do have a whole element on that. Other high responses were growth and development and land use, obviously, traffic and transportation, but you can see the other responses. From the public engagement process, we developed a comprehensive plan vision statement. The vision is not a required part of the comprehensive plan. We use this as a guide for developing the goals and objectives and policies that you'll be looking at. And I'll just read it briefly. Oldsmar will be a community with an active town center, having businesses to serve our daily needs, and where community events can bring people together. The community will be connected with a safe and functional transportation network that will support local and regional multimodal travel. Oldsmar will be committed to guiding development and redevelopment that supports the character of the community with a variety of housing options serving different ages and incomes, and with a strong commitment to environmental stewardship and resiliency. Oops, keep skipping. There we go. The required elements of the comprehensive plan, there's 10. We're going to be looking at the bottom ones briefly tonight, and then we'll have another meeting for the other ones. But we're going to be looking at natural resources conservation, coastal management, recreation and open space, capital improvements, and intergovernmental coordination. And with that, I'll pause, because at this point, that was really just the background of this comp plan update.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, on to the next item, is item number 7, and that's the subject is a summary of the amendments and consideration of ordinance 2023 -10 natural resources conservation element, ordinance 2023 -11 the coastal management element, ordinance 2023 -13 recreation and open space element, ordinance 2023 -14 intergovernmental coordination element, and ordinance 2023-15 capital improvement element for the City of Oldsmar Comprehensive Plan update. The purpose of this agenda item is to provide a summary of the amendments for these elements that Louis just pointed out on the screen. Each considered item contains a staff report memo with attachments describing the summary of amendments, a copy of the proposed ordinance, and a strike-through underlying copy for each element. Those are the legal requirements that we transmit to the state after the first public hearing. So that's why it's a separate item.
All right. And you'll be relieved to know I'm not going to be reading all through the entire element. I'm just going to try to hit the highlights of it. First element, natural resources conservation element, the purpose of which is to promote the conservation, use, and protection of the city's natural resources. And just some of the highlights, it's been the coastal management and conservation element has been separated into a natural resources conservation element and a coastal management element. So when you see the strike through and underline, that's what a lot of that is. There was an addition of an introduction, partners and stakeholders, and programs and initiative. The element focuses on 4 main goals: sustainability, protection of natural resources, water quality protection and preservation, air quality protection, and the protection of the health and well-being of the Oldsmar community. And that's basically the highlights of the natural resources conservation element, and I'll pause if you have any questions or comments on the document.
Any comments, questions? No? We're good?
Okay, okay. Coastal management element, the purpose of the coastal management element is to plan for and where appropriate restrict development activities where such activities would damage or destroy coastal resources, to protect human life and limit public expenditures in areas that are subject to destruction by natural disasters. Again, this was previously one element. Let's see. It's been separated into, let's see. It's been separated into a coastal management element and a natural resource conservation element, like I mentioned. And there's been the addition of an introduction, partners, stakeholders, programs, and initiatives and related maps with this element. It includes goals, objectives, and policies that are required by Section 163, 3178 of Florida statutes. This is known as the Peril of Flood Acts. The element addresses Oldsmar's acknowledgement associated with flood risk, storm surge, and sea level rise when considering redevelopment principles, strategies, and engineering solutions aimed at achieving effective flood risk mitigation. Again, that's the highlights of that element, if you have any questions or comments.
Okay, we're good. Thank you.
All right. The recreation and open space element, as described in Florida statutes, Chapter 163, it requires this element that indicates a comprehensive system of public and private sites for recreation, including but not limited to natural reservation, parks and playgrounds, parkways, beaches, and public access to beaches, open space, waterways, and other recreational facilities. Like the other elements I mentioned, there's an introduction of the addition of introduction, partners, and stakeholders, plan initiatives, and guiding documents. Revisions to policies 1.1.1 and 1.1.2 and Table 1 to update the city's recreational level of service standard and to ensure that the recreational standards are consistent with the current Natural Recreation and Parks Association metrics, which is a more current state-of-the-art of measuring recreation. Addition of policy 1.1.10 to update and maintain the park facilities master plan and to provide safe and equitable access to neighborhood parks. So recognizing the existence of that parks master plan. There's been revisions to Objective 2.1 and subsequent policies to reference coordination with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Revision to Policy 2.2.2 to promote additional connections across Tampa Road for safe and enjoyable recreation and mobility. That was a theme that came up again and again throughout the public engagement process, and that theme is reflected in different elements, so I wanted to point out that policy. Revision to Policy 2.2.3 to provide relevant wayfinding and interpretive signage along the Oldsmar Trail. And that's my quick summary of the recreation and open space element. Intergovernmental coordination element. Again, it's required to identify and respond to the needs for enhancing existing coordination mechanisms or processes to identify additional areas where coordination may be needed. This element outlines how the City of Oldsmar will coordinate the anticipated impacts of development attributable to the city's comprehensive plan, both currently adopted and subsequently amended with the plans of other local, regional, and state agencies. Mostly the revisions to this element were general updates to terminology and statute references. So that's an easy one. But if you have any questions or comments on that element.
Okay.
All right. And finally, capital improvement element. The purpose of this element is to evaluate the need for public facilities that is identified in the other comprehensive plan elements, estimate the cost of improvements for which the local government has fiscal responsibility, analyze the fiscal capabilities of the local government to finance and construct improvements, and to adopt financial policies to guide the funding of improvements and to schedule the funding and construction of improvements in a manner necessary to ensure that capital improvements are provided when required based on needs identified in the other comprehensive plan elements. Just pointing out revisions to policy 1.1.2 to add consideration of increased resiliency for infrastructure and projects needed to meet state or federal regulatory requirement for capital improvement projects. You'll remember the theme of resiliency that came up through a lot of the public engagement. Addition of policy 1.1.4 and policy 1.1.6 or through policy 1.6, providing additional guidance for capital improvement priorities. Revisions to policy 1.2.1 to provide guidance and clarification for long-term borrowing. Policy 1.2.2 to require a periodic review to enterprise funds. And policy 1.2.3 to provide guidance regarding terms of debt. Also pointing out revision to objective 2.1 and subsequent policies to require annual review of this element as part of the capital improvement program process, and allowing modifications to the CIP without requiring amendments to the comprehensive plan. And that's a summary of that final element that we'll be discussing tonight. So with that, I'll just ask if you have any questions or comments.
I think we're good.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we would need a motion to accept the proposed amendments to the City of Oldsmar's comprehensive plan as presented and schedule the first public hearing for each considered ordinance on February 6, 2023, 2024.
All right,
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Sir.
Discussion?
You know, reading through some of this strike-through stuff, I was kind of like,
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, though.
the Florida Bank, the bank building formerly housed the Oldsmar Public Library and is currently being renovated. Well, actually, we're sitting in it right now. You know, like this document was so old.
I know.
You know, and the new elements are really appropriate for Oldsmar today.
And some of the strike-through was kind of redundant. You know, I noticed some redundancy in some of the repeating. So
Yeah.
much better. Great job, city staff.
Yeah,
And
we
Louis,
need
thank you
to-
for all your hard work. We appreciate you. We really do.
These new elements are great.
Really do.
I would just like to commend the city manager and city staff because I think some of the things that they've been working on, these individual master plans that either have already been conducted or are planned to be done, was almost like we already kind of knew what direction we wanted to be in with this comprehensive plan update before we even got there. And so big shout out to staff for charging ahead, even though we knew that this was coming as well. So it's really tying it all together at the highest level view of planning as it relates to our city.
I second that, Vice Mayor.
Right?
That'll be a later vote.
We're good? All right, all,
Wait for the public to see the final
yeah.
final
And
version.
then we'll be here one night very late.
Yes.
Approving all of
okay.
them.
That's
All right,
okay.
all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8.
Item number 8, Mayor, is to approve the State of Florida Division of Emergency Management Public Assistance Subgrant Agreement Z3998, which supports DR 4734 for Hurricane Idalia, federal and state reimbursement for expenses incurred during Hurricane Idalia. On August 30th, 2023, Idalia struck the state of Florida. The city of Oldsmar, by and through its actions in preparation for, response during, and cleanup after the event, incurred considerable expenses which are eligible for reimbursement through FEMA and the Florida Division of Emergency Management Programs that are authorized by the respective governments to assist public agencies in reimbursing some of the costs associated with their emergency responses. The attached subgrant agreement is the basis for the overarching reimbursement program and provides for a partial reimbursement for jurisdiction-wide emergency proactive measures as well as citywide debris removal. Subsequent amendments may be submitted in future council agendas if required. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, I need a motion to authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance to set the special election date of August. No?
We're up here.
Oh.
One item ahead.
Oh, am I? Oh, God. Where am I? Sorry about that. All right, I was one ahead. I apologize.
All right.
Okay,
I can read the.
Yeah,
the
sure, that'd be
recommended
great.
motion is to approve the State of Florida Division of Emergency Management Public Assistance Subgrant Agreement Z3998, which supports DR 4734 for Hurricane Idalia, federal and state reimbursement for expenses incurred during Hurricane Idalia.
thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is number 8. Or number 9.
Item 9, consideration of setting special election date for August 20th, 2024. At the December 19th, 2023 council meeting, City Council received Councilmember Jared Buckman's resignation effective December 30th, 2023. Pursuant to the city's charter, the special election should take place sometime between April 28th, 2024 and June 27th, 2024. The Supervisor of Elections Office is unable to support a special election during that time frame and will be holding a primary election on August 20th, 2024. Florida Statutes 100.3605 provides that a municipality may, by ordinance, change the dates for qualifying and for the election of members of the governing body of the municipality and provide for the orderly transition of office resulting from such date changes. Recognizing the importance of the Supervisor of Elections Office support for our municipal elections, staff recommends adopting an ordinance setting the special election date for August 20th, 2024. The recommended motion is to authorize city attorney to draft a ordinance to set the special election date for August 20th, 2024.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All right, August 20th it is. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 10, City Council. Tom, would you mind taking that item for me, please?
I'd be happy to. This is item number 10, discuss process for appointment of council member to fill a vacant council seat. You remember, as the city clerk has just mentioned, that council member Jared Buckman gave his resignation effective December 30th, 2023. Section 3.07 of the charter provides that the vacancy must be filled by a majority vote of the remaining members within 30 days of the vacancy. That needs to be completed by January 29th. I'm recommending that the city use the city council vacancy application that I prepared, and it should be attached in your packet, as a basis for the application process, to release that application today and to have the applications be submitted to the office of the city clerk no later than 4 p.m. on January 9th. And of course, each applicant has to meet the qualifications as required by the city charter. I'd also like to go over the process so that if there is any suggested changes to the process that I'm suggesting, that we address them tonight, because we'll have them in the agenda package on the 16th if the application is approved. In the memo that I provided to the council that was dated December the 20th, it provides the following recommendation for the procedure to be used for appointing the council member to the vacant seat. The first item would be a 5-minute introduction by each applicant in alphabetical order. Second would be 10-minute question and answer period for each applicant by council members. The third step would be a 3-minute follow-up comments by the applicants. When the question and answer sessions for all the applicants have been completed, the mayor would open the floor for public comment. Each person would have 5-minute time limit per speaker. Only comments would be received regarding the applicants. The public would not be allowed to ask questions of the applicants. The fifth step in the process would be the council would consider a motion to appoint an applicant of those that have applied. And then once that applicant has been chosen, that the city clerk swear in that individual on the evening of the 16th. That person, whoever is sworn in, is going to remain in office until at least the election that would be held on August the 20th. That person could run in that election if they wanted to for that seat to continue on past that for the end of the term through Councilmember Buckman's term, which is March of 2025. So 2 questions tonight on this agenda item is the application that I prepared acceptable? And then is the process that I've suggested acceptable? And if not, what changes would you like us to make? So that's where we're at tonight.
Okay, any changes to the application, council? I didn't see anything. Oh, yes, Vice Mayor.
I've got a question that would kind of go off of one of Tom's last comments there. As he stated, anyone that's appointed to serve and fill the vacancy could, based on what the election date that we were just approved to set into motion, turn around and run for that election in August. There's been sort of an unwritten rule that's been out there for, I don't even know how far back it goes. By no means is it are we bound by the charter or anything to where anybody that was appointed to serve in a vacancy capacity was somebody that was not interested in running for that upcoming election to fill that seat. The reason being, it, at least in my mind, I don't know if anybody else would agree, kind of establishes that person with somewhat of an advantage going into trying to seek election for that seat. So that's something that I would potentially be interested in either including in the application, or if anything, that's what I'm going to ask each of the applicants that would show up at the next meeting. By no means, you know, if they say they're not going to run and they could turn around and later decide to run, by all means. But that's just my personal opinion on that. I feel like it would be nice to have somebody that, you know, maybe someday, a year or two from now, might be interested in running and wants to get a feel for the ropes. But yeah, I think it just kind of gives, in the spirit of fairness, trying to put somebody that's going to serve now but not already then essentially be the incumbent running for re-election in August. So just my own thoughts.
Any other comments?
I mean, I echo the same thing that the vice mayor just said. Essentially getting a leg up by sitting in the seat and then being able to run in the special election, having your name right there saying, you know, I'm already a council member. And just in conversations I've had, just as I know we did it when Janice passed away, and then when Gabby resigned. And the people that were appointed then didn't have any intention on running. And so, as the vice mayor had mentioned, if it's unwritten rules, tradition, it's custom, I would hope that we'd be able to do the same thing with the understanding that they could say, no, I'm not going to run, and then turn around and run. There's nothing to keep them from doing it. But just having that out in the open as we move forward with the process is, I think, an important conversation to have. So I appreciate you bringing it up, but nothing else from me.
I think it could be asked as a question, but I don't know if it could be part of the application. I don't know, the application feels like a little bit background information, kind of like binding information, like you promise that you're going to be able to, you know, make the meetings, what's your history, what's your background, your experience, your activities, involvement, are you registered to vote, do you live in the city, any financial interests or conflicts, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that is, I think we call it the Beaverland rule. Oh, there he is.
Is that right?
There he is.
I'm sure Jerry could back
Jerry
that
had
up.
a hand
but,
in establishing it, yeah.
We could add a sentence that basically says, are you willing to commit not to run for election at the April, or the August 20th election? So it could be something as simple as that, yes or no, in the application. Are you willing to commit not to run?
I would be in favor of that.
I kind of agree. I actually, when you mentioned it just now, I thought for sure the applicant would not want to be running in August. I thought it would be someone that we would pick. Because I remember when Janice Miller died, they picked Jim Roniker. Sorry about my voice. I've had a cold a little bit. But anyways, Jim Roniker took the seat when Janice Miller passed away until after, then it was an election. So, yeah. So I was hoping that we would pick someone that would be neutral so we can have another election in August. I kind of agree with you, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it boils down to, it's based on the charter, it's our responsibility as the remaining members of council to fill the vacancy, right? But it's not our responsibility to basically give somebody an advantage that would then kind of potentially sway the outcome of the next election, which then kind of is at a detriment to the community at large.
But do you want to add it to the application, or you just want to ask the question on the 16th?
Can we add it, Tom?
I mean, if it's quick enough to add. So then if we're kind of done with that, I had one other question or thing to point out, because I don't think it's really mentioned either in the process or the application. I mean, I think it's fair to presume we want those people to be here at the meeting, so if they don't show up and they basically cleared the screening of the application, that they wouldn't be considered as an appointment unless, of course, they all don't show up, and then we still need to pick somebody. So I don't know if we want to put any language in there about, you know, you need to make an appearance before the council on the next meeting.
How would you get sworn in if you weren't here?
Well, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
just- I mean,
I'm saying,
yeah, I mean, well, clearly, I mean, that's,
yeah, that's the intent. So maybe we don't need to have it.
No,
It's
they,
kind of-
they'll have to be here. I mean, if they're gonna fill it out, they're gonna have to be here, I think. Don't you agree? Right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's like it goes without saying, but.
So any applicants, I want to just confirm, because I talked to Kristen at this, Kristen Garcia, our city clerk. You want the applicants to come to you and get the application, correct? And fill it out and
And they
give it
just
to
have it
you?
emailed.
The email address is on the
Right.
back of the
I
form.
have the application,
Uh-huh.
and they can, and then it does, at the bottom of the application, it does say it has to be returned to me.
Okay.
And I just had, are we done with the application part? Did anybody have?
Well,
Oh, you had one more
I just
thing.
thought of
Okay.
something else, sorry. It was
Okay,
like
that's
the
okay.
wheels were spinning. So, Kristen, when we do the kind of the qualifying process, right, there's a variety of forms that need to be filled out and other things that you need to verify to make sure that that person is qualified to either run in an election or to serve. So are there other things that might need to be added here to, like, you know, voter ID card and things like that versus what's put on here? Or are we able to kind of verify those things quickly offline so that?
For qualification, we do verify the voter ID card. So that, I don't know if that needs to be put on here, if they just need to submit that to me with the application.
Yeah, it says voter registration date, but not your ID number.
Yeah,
You can, I mean, you can look that up.
She gets enough pieces of personal information and she can figure it
Right.
out pretty quickly. So,
Okay.
sounds like
Okay.
you'll be able to get what you need then, right? Or just email with those applicants to verify their eligibility. Okay. So, yeah, that's it, the application, sorry.
I guess I just had a couple of just pieces of clarification, Tom.
Okay.
So this applicant would be appointed and serve until August. At the same time, there would be a qualifying period and an election that would take place in August. And that person who's elected in August would take the position of the person who's filling in. And they would fill in the rest of, they would serve the rest of Councilmember Buckman's term, which is from August until March 2025.
Correct.
So this applicant, then March 2025, okay. So there's a potential for a lot of qualifying periods coming up. You did this once,
Maybe
twice, three times. Okay, and then both, obviously the person who's running for the August election would need to fill out the Form 6, but also the person who's filling in has to fill out the Form 6, which was the issue with Councilmember Buckman. So there's no period of time where that is not going to be applicable to whoever's sitting there.
No, if they're going to take office now we're at January 2nd, but if they would have taken office as of January 1st, they would have been obligated to fill out the form. And that's why I included that sentence in the application
At the
itself,
end.
that there is a requirement for the Form 6 to be submitted. That's on page 3 of 3
Yeah.
in the application.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Any other questions? Oh. I have one question.
Go ahead.
So if, let's say we get an applicant that's serving on one of our volunteer boards, will they have to resign?
Yes.
Okay,
We can always put them back on after August,
there you go.
if the vacancy can linger long enough, but we'll have to cross that bridge when that time comes.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Mayor. So if somebody's on a board, they would have to resign the board to fill the vacancy and then hope that their position was still
there.
open in August when they're, yeah.
that's an auto removal, right? That's not the rule, like once
At the
you.
charter?
They have to.
That's for the
They
charter.
would
Dual office.
resign from that board. The appropriate thing would be a letter, one-sentence letter. I'm
Not an actual
resigning from the Board of
resignation.
Adjustment effective the date of the election. Yeah.
Well, the date of
date
them
of-
being sworn in.
January
2 weeks from
16th.
now.
Well, yeah, once we have the certified results.
Okay.
No, I think you were meaning from the appointment, right?
I was meaning,
The
so.
interim person.
The interim person.
When we fill the vacancy in 2 weeks.
They would have to resign their position on an advisory board as well,
Correct.
effective January 16th.
Effective the day that they are sworn in, so that would be January 16th.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry, it's kind of, your question is bringing up a question for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tom, or any other comments? You good?
I got nothing.
Okay.
That's good. We're good? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, because I mean, I think the process that we intend to undertake on the 16th looks great. I think it affords each applicant ample time. It gives us time to ask whatever questions we may see fit, and it will give the public time to comment. So it's, I think all parties get to be involved in the consideration of that matter in 2 weeks. So.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention to you, too. There may be a possibility that there's only one person that applies.
Oh.
And just because only one person applies doesn't mean that you have to appoint that person. I just want to make that absolutely clear.
Oh.
Okay.
So just because you apply and you're the only one, that doesn't make you the shoo-in. You, as the remaining council members, get to choose who sits in that seat. If it is someone that you do not want in that seat, you have no obligation to appoint them. And so my suggestion on the way of handling that is that we would open the floor again, set out the applications again for another period of time to receive additional applications. So don't feel committed if only one applies and you don't want that person to be sitting up here, so.
I didn't realize that. Thank you,
for
Tom.
explaining that.
I guess Tom too, if that were to happen, which hopefully it doesn't. And I'm trying to remember to times prior when the appointments took place, but did we have a process that was as robust as this versus just kind of suggesting a name?
We've
I don't
never
think
had
we
an
need to go that
application, in my 27 years, we have not had an application process.
far. Okay. So we could go that route too if
I
we
feel like
wanted to.
this is much more transparent than it
Oh,
ever
sure.
has been in the past, so.
Yeah, I'm.
Because I remember
hoping
it
there's
was
at
like
least
cut
two
and
and we get
dry.
it
It was
done.
Jim Roniker.
Yeah, it was not,
All right.
this is better.
To that end, though, if there's multiple candidates,
We still don't have to pick anybody.
Correct,
right, but we were going to vote, correct?
correct.
So am I going to have a ballot in front of me that we hand down to Kristen, or are we speak the votes?
According to the process, it could be a motion to appoint
An applicant.
John Doe, and then it would be seconded or not.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to change that, we could do it by ballot, and so long as the ballot is signed by each council member, you can do it by ballot.
Okay.
Oh.
So if, for example, you have a ballot and you have 5 names on it, and you want to check one off, and you sign the bottom of it, pass it on down to Kristen, she's going to total them up. And then whoever has the most votes, hopefully it's not an even number, 2 and 2. But we could do it that way too. So if you want me to change this to have it a ballot vote, I'd be happy to do that. It may make it a little bit easier on you if we do it by ballot vote instead of by motion, but that's your prerogative.
Okay.
That's why we're talking about it tonight, so we can figure it all out ahead of time.
Okay.
We're just, anybody who fills out this application is doing it from a place, they want to be of service to our community.
Absolutely.
And regardless of, the vote or motions may feel like a slight or embarrassing to somebody who has the gumption. So perhaps a ballot might be a good idea.
Okay?
I don't know, I
Talked to
just,
Felicia about that today, too. the
You
ballot.
did? Okay.
Yes, I did.
I don't know, I don't want somebody to have to hear their name read aloud in a motion and then nobody seconds them. And then that feels, it's a procedural matter to us, but to them, it may feel like they were not accepted by this council, which is not the case. I can envision, I hope that the people, that come forward are the type of people who want to serve this community. I don't want them to feel like they've not been seconded by a matter of procedure. That's kind of yuck. I don't know. That kind of just hit me in the feels.
I agree.
I do.
Sounds like
Yeah,
consensus
You
so
guys
like
think?
we're gonna do a ballot,
Okay.
a ballot vote.
All right,
I
I'll
totally
work
agree
with
that.
Kristen. I'll
You think
create that
so?
and get it to
Yeah.
Kristen. Okay.
So I have one more question before we move on. So
Yeah.
let's say we get 3 applicants. Should we, on our vote, should we do 1, 2, 3 and give it to Kristen?
No.
Just
Pick
vote?
one.
We're gonna pick one.
Okay,
Kristen's gonna calculate how many votes there were, and it's gonna be the highest vote getter.
okay. All right, I like it.
Okay?
Do we have
And
anything?
if it is a tie, then we'll eliminate everyone
lowest
other than the
one?
2 tie
Okay.
individuals, and there will be another vote
Okay.
Okay,
until we get,
fair.
That's fair.
get someone that's successful. Okay.
Okay, I need a motion to approve with the changes that we instructed Tom to do.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing who applies. I'm excited.
Okay, so since we're making changes to the application, it won't be tonight that we'll releasing the application, it'll be tomorrow morning. As soon as I get into the office, I'll make the changes and provide them to Kristen, and then she'll make it available, so. Hopefully,
you.
Same deadline though, right?
it'll be same deadline. And the reason being is that we want the city clerk to be able to have them, to vet them, and then have them available for your agenda package, so you have time to vet them, and then you have your meeting. That way, we don't crush it all up against the edge. So we'll
Okay.
keep the same time frame.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Next item is item 11, appointment to replace Councilmember Buckman on the Forward Pinellas Board for the remainder of the current 2-year term that will end in December of 2024. I would like to present to the council, I'd like to finish out his term if possible, if that's okay with everybody. There's no meeting in August or December, so it would be like 9 meetings.
Did anybody else want to volunteer? Or is
I,
that-
I would also be interested, I mean, that the
Okay.
land use element and planning for the future is something else of interest to me, so.
What other boards are you currently serving on, Mayor?
PSTA.
And then, are you?
And
are
then
you
I'm just past president of the Suncoast League of Cities.
Okay, so you're not on anything else for FLC right now?
No.
Okay.
And Andrew, you're on what other board?
Noise abatement and Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council are my 2
Okay.
current commitments outside of
And-
council.
2-year term that would end December 2024.
It's through the end of this year.
Okay.
I think those meetings they're like Wednesday morning at 10 or something, right?
They're from 1 to 4.
1 to 4?
Can you make the meetings, Andrew?
Because this was brand new and sudden to us, I can't make the one that's next week,
Oh, well,
because I have a rather important meeting with work, so. But other than that one, I can accommodate my schedule.
have you ever had an opportunity to be on a regional board before like this?
Well, the Regional Planning Council, yeah.
Yeah, the regional, but
Yeah.
other than that?
No.
Now what?
We need a motion on the floor for someone to be appointed.
I would make a motion that Vice Mayor Andrew Knapp be appointed to replace Councilmember Buckman on the Forward Pinellas Board.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is council comments, and Councilmember Katie Gannon, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to, we just had a couple of agenda items related to this, but the way that the December 19th meeting played out during council comments, Councilmember Buckman obviously took us all very much by surprise. And we didn't really have an opportunity to thank him other than the informal sort of shocked statements. And so I just wanted to thank him for his service to this community. It's not easy to run for council. It's not easy to sit up here and serve. And perhaps we didn't always agree on things, maybe never, I don't know. He'd probably laugh at me if he heard me say that. But, you know, Jared Buckman will continue to be an active member of this community, and I want to thank him for, serving this community, and for his family for allowing him to devote the time he did to this council. In addition to that, wow, okay, so we're gonna have a couple of things to do at the next meeting in February. I want to save my comments on the comprehensive plan for the first and second reading for approval of the new elements. But just as a tiny preview to that, y'all, this document, this draft document is like 2 inches thick. They can't really see that on, but the draft document is about 2 inches thick and represents more than a year of city staff time, like blood, sweat, tears time, not like daily effort time, just to do your job. This is above and beyond what's required by Florida law. Not only, I can preview that, not only is the document just aesthetically pleasing and absolutely beautiful, the graphics, the photographs, the data, the little infographics, all of this information will continue to be our planning document for the city until 2043. I just want to commend our city manager and our department heads and everybody who took the painstaking effort and time to really sit down and line by line update and fix this document and add even more to it than they had to. We'll see it in its final form, but this is a really, really big deal. There's a reason nobody touched it since 2007. It's because it was so big. But we know our city manager, Felicia Donnelly, and that's just an invitation. That's just a challenge to tackle it. And I am very excited for the public to be able to see this, which includes, policies for everything from how we're going to develop our open spaces going forward or not, how we're going to protect against hurricanes and floods, how we're going to manage our resources, how we're going to work together with other governments. It's beautiful, and there's appendices with where all the information came from. There's so much public participation. I just cannot say enough about this document. Next week is, so thank you, Felicia. I will continue my accolades once we get the finalized document, but it's really, really beautiful. And perhaps one of the most lasting pieces of work that anybody who's currently working for the city could do. It's significant, to say the least. Upcoming School Transportation Safety Committee meeting, definitely going to be reporting back on that. Next week we have the candidate forum. It's hard to believe that's already here. There's going to be hopefully a lot of public involvement coming up in the next 2 weeks. I'm excited to see these applications and who might be interested in further serving our community. And then, of course, if you're not registered to vote, please be sure to register. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and wishing you all a very happy New Year.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. First of all, hope everybody had a great New Year and already feeling like 24 is going to be the year, right? I mean, it's always the next year is going to be the best year. Just want to say thanks again for the consideration of the appointment to Ford Pinellas. Really looking forward to being able to participate in that. I had a couple things, and I didn't get a chance to write the one thing down that was off the top of my head. But I'm really looking forward to the visioning work session next week. I had a rather, I think, fruitful conversation with the city manager this morning, kind of previewing and discussing that meeting next week. I think it will really set the tone for the next few years as far as reconsidering our priorities and how we can better start to, or just continue to stitch everything that we're doing as far as planning and goal setting into an even better framework than it already is today. So really looking forward to that. If you haven't caught on yet, planning is kind of gets me excited. And then I guess just the only other thing is on behalf of the four of us that that are asking for your votes this March. We really hope that you come out to hear us next week and answer questions and share our thoughts on how to continue improving our community. So for Steve, Vince, Valerie, and myself, we really hope you all come out. Please, everybody, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's fill the room. Let's fill the side room. I don't know about the bathroom. We'll leave that for another day. But really looking forward to having everybody come out and hear what we have to say.
Or attend
That's all.
via YouTube, right?
Or YouTube, which the link will, I'm sure, could that be shared in advance, or it's just gonna kind of pop up day of? Okay.
Pop up like.
So we'll be live streamed too. So if it is full here, please watch it on your mobile device or a laptop. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. Same things were written down on my paper as well. I'm excited about the candidate forum. We can all sing my mother happy birthday that day. So she will hopefully be spending it watching me on YouTube. I don't know, but I'm sure she'll watch it later and critique the performance. Happy New Year, everyone. Again, the application process, can't wait to see how many we get, be able to go through that with everyone. But that was pretty much all I had, Mayor. Just wanted
All
to
right.
say
Thank you. I just have a couple things. Congratulations on your appointment. I think you're going to be great. I think you're going to do a great job. Jolly Trolley Tour of Oldsmar is Saturday, January 13th. There's two tours. There's one at 10 a.m. and there's one at noon. We need to sell tickets. It's a donation to the Historical Society. The Jolly Trolley will meet out here in front of City Hall, and it will take you around the entire city. Ken Sonorowicz is our narrator and our historian who will be telling us all about the wonderful city of Oldsmar. We'd love for you to come out. You can get tickets by calling 813-716-7434. Again, we're going to meet at the Women's Club. There will be a quiz on board to you answer some questions about the city. There's going to be prizes and refreshments after the tour at the Women's Club. So we hope you all can come out for that. And then on Wednesday, April 3rd, we got Jerry Beaverland's going to share the history of the city of Oldsmar. He just left at the Palm Harbor Historical Society at 2043 Curlew Road at 6:30 p.m. and everybody's welcome to that. Other than that, Friday we'll talk about the visioning workshop. I'm looking forward to that. And other than that, I don't have anything else. Just Happy New Year to everybody. All right. Item number 13, approved tentative agenda for the January 16th, 2024 council meeting. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the tentative agenda? Nope.
not pull anything, but just for clarification's sake, Tom, when we do that on the 16th and they get sworn in, do they walk up and sit down? So we have to do it first, or that's the first meeting they sit in would be the February?
As soon as they're sworn in, they can sit up here on the dais.
Okay, so I know that on the agenda, it's there. I mean, we don't have the numbers yet, the tentative agenda. Is there a different spot would it be after the meeting's called to order and we do the invocation and the pledge, and then we do that first? Would that be the recommendation?
It's whatever you choose to do.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Well, I hope it happens.
Doesn't go under CRA, consent docket, City of Baltimore, city manager. I mean, we could put it on city council and then we can always, at the beginning of the meeting, take it out of order.
Good, sure, I just, moving forward, so not all of us are surprised when we get here on the 16th and being like, okay, we had this at number 15 on the agenda, but that person gets sworn in, then they immediately come and sit up. Whoever replies, in theory, would need to be prepared for the meeting as well.
That's true too.
Right.
So that's why I'm just saying, after the forum, community minute.
Well, should it be the last thing before council comments then?
Yeah, I think it should be the last thing, because how can they wouldn't have had an opportunity to meet with the city manager prior to the meeting.
No, it's true. No, you're right. That didn't
feel
cross my mind. So we do it last?
Yeah, I mean, right now, it's kind of near the end not at the end,
Right.
but it's, in order of kind of events.
Because, I mean, two of those things, at least how the tentative is currently set up, are items that would have been discussed by the four of us at the visioning session, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if that person had already been sitting there. Not saying that they can't participate and vote on those things, by all means they can. So it's just,
Yeah.
if they didn't get a chance to see or what happened there, then obviously at least those things they would have to be prepared for to vote and discuss on.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you. Yeah, if we do it right before council comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, just making sure.
Thank
I
you.
didn't mean to pull anything, but so moved on the tentative agenda.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, thank you all for coming out.